Hello, thank you for tuning in. My name is Larry Duncan Allen, and this is No More Water, Fire. Next time, I have an interesting title tonight entitled How MAGA is Being Booted Out of Black Spaces. You see, you've probably seen on social media where they won't show it on the mainstream news how MAGA went to a historical black college, an HCBU, and tried to set up shop and spread their material. And why would they go to a black college without permission to do that? And thought they weren't going to get put out there. I mean, they were ran out of there. And they went to a black church, tried to go to a church meeting, and they were booted away from there. Like they're going to force their way in. The people told them they better leave or they're going to get served. And they had some white people standing with them. They had white people standing with them. See, we have more white allies than we do with any other people. Many of them have stood with us. But people of color, they've never stood with us. And see, one thing about it, white people are not used to being ran out of black spaces. They're used to being welcomed and treated nicely. See, there are people in decline all over the world. Their reign is coming to an end. But it seems like everyone realized it except them. And see, even during Jim Crow, which was another form, just a semi-form of slavery, the when they had segregation, it was segregated for black people, but not for white people. They could come into black spaces. Black people couldn't go into their spaces. They can go into black stores. Black people couldn't go into theirs. Black restaurants. Black people couldn't go into theirs. One of the saddest things that I heard of is that when black people couldn't go to their clubs and couldn't hardly go anywhere near their stuff, but we had our own. We should have stuck with our own. But when a white person came to like a black jazz club, they would make the black owners would make the black people get up out of the front tables to let the white people sit there. Take away all the little plastic stuff and bring out the good china. I mean, I know they may have had a different thinking in that era, but common sense would tell you if I can't come to yours, why are you going to come to mine and get the royal treatment? See, we kind of helped in this. We did. I'll tell you why. We sort of helped in this. We allow white people to run us over us in many regards. So that's why now when MAGA is coming, different people, they're coming to try to get into black churches and black colleges, and they ran away. They're not used to that. They're not used to black people running them away. Coming to a black church, trying to force their way into their rights. A church let in who they want to let in. They don't have to let you in if they don't want to. Why do you want to come into black spaces? Do you know that when black people go around white people, we go where we have to go? See, they don't necessarily have to be bothered with us. They can go into their all white towns, which they already got. And they don't have to be bothered with us. But many times we deal with them because we have to get goods and services. Because they're in control of most things. And they set it up that way. They set it up where they're in control of everything. They want to criticize us because we have to come around them to get the services we need. In Belleville, Illinois, they used to have a court on Tuesday. They used to set up a roadblock every Tuesday. They called it Black Tuesday, to catch black people while they were on their way to court. It was set up by Mark Kern. He's the president. I think he's the president. He used to be the mayor of Belleville at that time. I think he's the County chairman now. At least he used to be, as if he still is. And black people votes for this man. He comes down now and try to be all friendly. But I remember those Black Tuesdays. Well, I heard about him. I was living in Los Angeles at the time. But look, they there's an well, they ran him out of the black church because the pastor gave a fiery speech about Charlie Kirk. To show you what I mean by we live in their head 24/7, but we don't think about them. Most black people didn't even know who Charlie Kirk was. I didn't. And they say Charlie Kirk was killed. I had to look him up to see who he was. And then I saw the old crazy stuff he says. So why should black people mourn him? He said that some lives has to be sacrificed for the sake of the Second Amendment. He just wasn't counting on being one of those sacrifices. That's all I see him as a sacrifice for the Second Amendment. He said it himself. He said black women cannot form a coherent thought. Like black women are so dumb that they you have to go ask a white person. You can't ask a black woman anything. And we're supposed to celebrate him? Everything he said was against black people. And I heard a lot of black people say, oh, it was a tragedy. It wasn't tragic to me. What about his wife and kids? I don't care. Did they care about Martin Luther King, wife and kids? Excuse me. When they talk bad about him when he died, did they care about Michael Brown's family or Trayvon Martin's family? Did they care about them? Did they care about George Floyd's family? Any black person that was killed, did they care about Breonna Taylor's or Sandra Bland's family? When they said the horrible things about them? No, they didn't. But yeah, they're used to black people being so compassionate, forgiving everyone. I'm sorry, I'm just not like that. You hurt mine, I hurt yours. You unalive mine, I unalive yours. If the police don't do nothing about it, if it's my people, I gotta do something about it. We have to start taking back family honors. That's the way it used to be. Let the legal system run its course. I'm getting back to my subject. I want to get off on that. But look, they're now running up in black spaces. What happened is black people weren't engaging. We weren't going out to protest. So they weren't able to get their picture ops of black people confronting the police like they wanted. So since we weren't coming out, now they want to run up in our neighborhoods, go up in a housing building and zip tying black children who weren't even dressed. Talking about when people try to put clothes, talking about F those children. They're trying to provoke us. I'm going to tell you, it's not going to come from us. You know where the problem going to come from? White people. They're now, they don't care who they mistreat. They're dragging white women in the street, beating white men. They're treating them like they always treated black people. Not because I'm people of color. I'm not even thinking about them. They never were any friends about me. Believe me, I lived around in L.A. They always said they never wanted anything to do with us. Now they're trying, even the people in Jamaica now trying to claim they're black. They used to say, no, I'm Jamaican. No, I'm Haitian. No, I'm Dominican. Now they want to be black. Well, stay on where you was at. Stay in your lane. You stay in ours. But look, they're now coming after white people. Portland, Oregon. They wanted to send National Guards there. The courts blocked it. But the courts don't mean anything to Trump. He's gonna do what he want to do, and they won't do anything about it. They blocked it. But you know why? Possibly why? Portland, Oregon is a city of around 650,000 people. 5% black, 10% people of color. It's a 85% white city. I'm gonna tell you, they don't want to mess with white folks like that. They're not compassionate and docile like we are. We believe in peaceful protest, I don't. That's why I never protested because I didn't want to mess up their protest because I never believed in peaceful protest. You can hurt me, you can't brutalize me, and then when I get ready to strike back, say I got to do it peacefully. No, I got to get you back. Then we can talk peace, and I have to hit you worse than you hit me. So when you retaliate, you come even stronger. Excuse me, but look, those white people not gonna put up with that. White people will tear this nation up if you try that mess with them. That's one thing I think I have to give them. They will not take just anything. I kind of hope they did go into Portland. You would have seen a different reaction. And you let them keep dragging them white women and beating those white men, see what happens. See, they said they want to fight back Civil War too. But most of the military is not going to go along with that. And can't you see why other nations said to have military coups? Because when the legal system, the those who was elected to protect the Constitution and all, and to run the nation, not doing their jobs, the military had to take over. But they have people so tamed in this nation, and with the military structure, I can't see them doing that. I would welcome it though. And the people in the National Guard, they caught some of them on record saying, they caught, at least they got some text from them saying they really don't want to do it. You see, it's not the National Guard who are brutalizing people, it's ICE. ICE has no business in black neighborhoods. I heard there was a few immigrants living in the building, but they didn't never say they had got any. But that's why I say black people get away from those immigrants. Don't live around them. See, it was good when they came here. They didn't want to live around us, have anything to do with us. Now they had no reason running up in our neighborhoods. But black people are learning. They are booting these people out. They're not letting them come into their space. These MAGA people, if they didn't invite you, you have no business coming. If this is a meeting you're having at this church, we have every right. You don't. That church has a right to let in whoever they want to, and keep out whoever they want to. And tomorrow, why come I can't come in? And man say, because I told you you can't. That's why. You don't have to give you a reason. A church can deny entry to anyone who they want to. It's awful strange. The race of people who are always they're not trying to deny other rights. They try to deny rights to others, but they're always crying about their rights. That's why I say, when their rights get violated, they're ready to get violent. That's why I wanted them to go into Portland, that mostly white city. I would have loved to see ICE, and they got an ICE detention center there. They went there and protested there. That's why the Orange Man wanted to send troops up in there. Those white people are not going to take it. They will tear this nation up. They did it once back in the 1800s over some jobs. They tore Washington, D.C. up. But see, we've been docile. We've been trained on that non-violent stuff. You hit me and I kneel down and pray. I pray that I get the strength to knock the nuke and kick the you know what out of you. That's what I pray about. Give me the strength. Look, these people are not going to do right by us. Every time they think we're prospering, they send us through a reconstruction period. They did it back in the late 1800s. See, if you've heard it before. Every time there's black progress, there's white backlash. Black people were prospering so just 10 years after slavery. They just about took over North Carolina. They had people in the state house. Black people started public education. But they started the board of education. really. The education department. It was actually started by black people in North Carolina. Black people were doing so well and prospering so. And when I believe it was president was Andrew Jackson came in. When was it? It was one of the about a couple of presidents after Lincoln. He came in and they took most of the black wealth away. Just took it. A lot of the white farmers you see now, that land was taken from blacks and given to those white farmers. And that's when they started Jim Crow, which was a semi form of slavery. Do you know Jim Crow really didn't end until the signing of until the 1964 signing of the Civil Rights Bill? So black people really have only had um, 61 years of freedom, of which at least what we could call freedom because they've used other type of strategies like redlining and denials for us. So and they've had see they're not gonna now what they're doing now is reconstruction now is because they felt when Barack Obama was elected president of the United States, they felt that's going too far. They saw there's too much black progress. So now we're into the white backlash and another reconstruction period. See, a lot of black people don't realize this, but they counseled the Civil Rights Bill and the voting and most of those bills that were signed in 1964. Excuse me, but they really set us back over about 100 years. These people are not going to do right by us. They've had 400 years to do so. They've been putting the same stuff for 400 years. They're not going to give us reparations. So they would tell me, well, why don't you all go back to Africa? I said, well, why don't you? You don't like what we're doing here. You go back to Europe. And I think we're going to fare out, we will fare out much better in Africa than they will in Europe because Europe is on the decline and Africa is rising up. I tell them, give each one of us $1 million in reparations. We'll get up out of here. There's a lot of it don't have to be Africa, wherever you want to go. There's a lot of nations who would love to a bunch of people with $1 million in their pocket to come there. Because that's I'm not saying leave. I know many people feel like we're the foundational part of the foundational people of this nation. Many people don't want to leave. I really wouldn't want to, but they're just not going to do right by us. I'm saying to those who want to. Those who want to stay, I think that's fine also. I can't blame you. I would like to stay, but I just can't keep going through the same thing over and over. I'm going to see how this play out. I have from many African nations are reaching out. I think in the last 5 years, they see about 350,000 people here has went to move to Africa. Because and do you know if you get Social Security, you can still get it while if you move out of the country, you can still get your Social Security. And that little check you get over in those countries, you can live like a king. You know that? And then, like, what you do, if you do something on social media, you have a podcast, anything, and you have Cash App, and you're getting American dollars over there, you live like a king over there. Why the same money you struggle with over here, you can live very, very well in many other nations. In this country, we work. I know I'm a bit off subject, but I have to talk about this. And in this country, we work just to be poor. Barely can pay bills. And many people think they're doing well, but then they go to other nations and see how people are doing who have to work less than we work. They get free health care. They say we have the best healthcare system in the world here. How is it the best healthcare system when many of its people can't even access it? The number one healthcare system, if it was the number one healthcare system, That means everyone should be able to access it. So it's not the best system. You take the 20th best healthcare system. There's not much difference in them. I'd rather be under the 20th healthcare system that I can access than the best healthcare system that I can't. You know, that it doesn't make sense to look, I have had some people who have gotten sick. People I know gotten sick while they was in other countries. They received good health care and didn't have to pay. There was no bill. Here in this nation, see, white racism is destroying this nation. I knew it would one day. They don't want free health care because they don't want black people to get it. I've heard many people say that, and I believe it. It goes along with the rest of the thinking of this nation. Gun rights. Do you know the NRA was for gun restrictions when the Black Panthers was carrying guns? Ronald Reagan said, see, Trump is just Ronald Reagan on steroids. Ronald Reagan really started all of this. Ronald Reagan said, concealed carry and gun rights weren't really for black people. He actually said that. So they're not going to do right by us in this nation. And I don't know why we keep expecting them to. They see, we don't see, they worry about, say, if black people, if we're not the majority, black people going to do to us what we did to them. We're not thinking about them. We don't think about them like they think about us. Do you see on social media a lot of those posts of black people doing stuff and white people all over it? But do you see us all over their posts? You know why they're all over it? Because many of those posts are created by white people, by bots. That's why you see more white people on it. Are they that afraid and that fragile that they have to do that sort of thing? If they say we're inferior, let us be inferior on our own because they know we're not. They just, you know what they're afraid of? A sleeping giant is going to wake up. That's what they're afraid of. We don't have to be the majority to live. They have to. They can't function where they're not the majority. That's what they're fighting for. Since Obama was elected president, they felt like that's when they started talking about the browning of the United States. I don't say America, I say the United States because this is not the only America. Mexico is America. Canada is America. They're Americans. Everyone on the America's continents are Americans. The United people in the United States don't have the monopoly on that. But the United States, at one point, the people of color, especially the Mexicans, were like honorary whites. The problem is they used to always vote Republican. They would never vote for black candidates, but they fooled them this time. When Obama ran, they actually voted for Obama twice. And that's when they became the new N words because they helped elect Obama. And by Obama becoming president, they saw there's too many games. So they try to ruin every game we make. Do you know that black farmers are not suffering because they never got the welfare? That what white farmers was getting, welfare. They since the black farmers wasn't suffering, they were talking about burning down black farms. And if you black farmers sit there and let them do that, that's on you. You all get together because you got gas and matches too. You need to let them know that. But look, but don't when they talk about burning down black economic progress because they're outdoing them, don't that sound like Tulsa and Rosewood to you and many other cowboy towns out west? They burnt down cowboy towns out west because black people were prospering. That's why I say they keep doing the same things over and over again. They haven't gotten any better. As soon as we start progressing, any black progress is made by white backlash, and they try to destroy what we have built. And you know, and I just don't have any faith in this because I tell you why. Do you know this Project 2025 they're talking about? When I look at it, it's gonna hurt white people even more than black people. They're not used to being treated that way. Look at the government jobs. A lot of black women were fired off government jobs, which is a tragedy. I really feel for them. But see, black women were given government jobs. See, black women was 22% of the government workforce because they were seen as a double minority, female and black. That's why many of them were hired on government jobs and not black men. But that was fine because black men get jobs at factories, warehouse, and make just as much as money as a woman with a degree. We don't really. That's why a lot of black men don't go to college as much as a lot of black men are going now. And one of the reasons was that in the way black people operated, black people were used to sending their daughters to college and have their sons get a job, and that's what people got used to. But now many more black men going to college and trade school. But getting back to what I was saying, see but the white farmers, they were getting welfare all the time. Many of them was getting paid not to farm. Some of them was getting millions of dollars, became millionaires. So the black farmers sued to get the COVID relief like they did. And it was approved. They won the suit. The white farmers countersued to block it. And the black farmers won the suit and still didn't get the money. I never heard of anything like that. I win the suit because somebody else countersued and I don't get my money that they already got. So that's why I don't feel sorry for those white farmers. Trump sold them out. China's buying their soybeans from Brazil and Argentina. And then Trump won't bail out Argentina, bailed out their competition. But I don't feel sorry for them. They voted for Trump. And some of those farmers who have lost their farms say they'll still vote for Trump again. And this is not the first time. Trump did this to them the first time he was president. Many of them lost their farms. And they turned around and voted for him again. He said he was going to get rid of the immigrants. They knew that their workforce was immigrants. And they voted for him. And this is supposed to be the superior race? I think a black school kid could have saw through that. And they say our children are inferior. Don't believe that. Have you seen when our children go head to head with them in debate, and other academic things? Who usually win? See, they ignore all those excellent posts about black people on social media and go to those bot posts that they made about us misbehaving. I found out a lot of those posts aren't even real. That many of them made by AI, because AI looks real now. And many times you can tell by the audio when it's AI. It sounds a bit hollow. But you don't see us all over their posts. They're so evil to that. That was like here in East St. Louis when you talk about, I'm going to go on this for a minute. Those old buildings like the Majects, I think they're 80 to Spivey building, they're historic. Not for us, not for our history. Do you know why that Majestic Theater was closed down? Because when integration came, they had to start allowing black people in. So they closed it down rather than allow black people in. Tear that mess down and go and build some more new efficient buildings down there. That's just taking up space. That old piece of junk, tear it down. That old Spivey building, but the Spivey building, it's too expensive to fix up and too expensive to tear down. It actually belongs to St. Clair County. Maybe the city needs to sue to make the county do something about it. But look, that was their history. Do you know at East Side High School, East St. Louis Senior High School, they actually had a pool there? But when black kids started coming there, they didn't want the white kids to have to swim with the black kids, so what they did, they filled in the pool, put a gym floor over it, and called it the girls' gyms. That's what they called the girls' gym. The girls' gym, that was actually a swimming pool area. They're not gonna do right by us. They're gonna keep pulling the same stuff over and over again. That's why I say, you people that want to leave this country, if you can, go ahead. I'm gonna wait for my give me a reparation. We need to say give each one of us $1 million reparation. We'll get up out of here. I know I will. Because that just but we cannot but we're learning. We should just they should just put us out of their spaces and we just allow them in ours. I saw some white woman that said they used to talk about how their car stopped in a black area and the black people were so kind, helped them get their car running. I said black people have always been that way. White people haven't had trouble coming in black areas. Black people have had trouble coming in white areas. Because I told him, say, look, if that was a black person's car stopped, you would have called the police on them. I know, because I've had it happen to me. I had a scooter I was riding. I had a female friend of mine on it with me. And then I was coming down that area. The people here in this area know what I'm talking about. When you're coming from down by on the hill, when you take that street and you go out to State Street coming off of St. Clair Avenue. Excuse me. But my belt broke on the scooter. But I always carried a spare in the trunk I had on because I know those belts can break. Because I've had it happen before. And that's why I started carrying a brand new spare with me. So I had the tools and I stopped to put it on. The white guy was in front of his house. He came out, talked to me just as nice. And have carrying on the conversation. And I said, he going in to call the police now. And the friend wouldn't, she say, why you always think somebody up to something? That man nice. He ain't going to do nothing like that. Sure enough, about 5 minutes later, here come the police. This is about 5 years ago. Here come the police. And he stopped, pulled up behind me. He looked and saw what I was doing. I know he read the plate. It was good and everything. Then he went on. But I knew the guy was going to go in there and call the police. No matter how nice they talk to you, they're going to go in there and call the police when you're in front of their house. But we wouldn't have done that. Look at all the white transients in East St. Louis. I know people in other areas are listening to me, but I'm talking about my hometown right now. And it happens in many black areas. When their people are suffering, they have to come around black people for help because they know their people are not going to help them. They'll say, get a job. Yeah, don't you think they do that if they could? After they got some type of problem. Most homeless people, they're not all drug addicts. Many of them have mental issues. And see what happens is there are people coming to our areas to get help. They can't get help in their areas. But you see those old scragglers coming in here causing problems, they wouldn't allow our people to go in their areas and do the things they do here. Down I saw a white woman down there by some bushes, dookie The where that old Radio Shack used to be at. When you're coming, I'm going on to State Street. She's over there, pull up hands down over that dookie and behind the bushes, like people can't see her. They wouldn't allow. They wouldn't allow black people to come into their areas to do that. Sitting on their bus stops drinking beer. Excuse me, there are a little stuffy in here right now. But look, they wouldn't allow them to come in their areas drinking, sitting on the bus stop drinking beer. They sit on the bus stop. Oh, excuse me, I'm having a little tough time tonight. They sit on the bus stop right here in front of my building. Leave trash. The white ones too. Sit there half the night until we had the bus company to put a trash can out there. They still throw stuff on the ground. Then I go out there looking at the trash can, and the cash can almost empty. You see what the problem is? People don't. We know there's going to be poor and homeless people around. It's not that they're homeless, it's their behavior. Throwing trash out on the ground when trash can that's empty. See, and there be some white ones out there many times. But see, they wouldn't allow the black transients to come into their neighborhoods and behave that way. Where they don't even allow the upper level black people in their neighborhoods. Yeah. And then when we go in their neighborhoods, we don't have to worry about just the residents, but the police also. I've seen where they stopped the FedEx man. FedEx uniform, truck, package. No, the police, tell me what are you doing there? FedEx uniform, package, truck. What do they think he's doing there? Black people, when they're in white areas, like they could be going trying to get somewhere. Sometimes they have to go through white areas to get to where they have to go, and they get bothered. They don't get bothered. You see the white people come through St. Louis every day, going back and forth to work. Do they get bothered? And I guarantee you, they don't set up no roadblocks during that time because it's not going to inconvenience those white people. No, they're not going to inconvenience them. But that's why I knew they weren't going into Portland, Oregon. I kind of wish they would, though. That's a town of 650,000 people, and it's 85% white, 10% people of color, and 5% black. Those white folks weren't gonna let them white folks got something for you. They don't take that stuff we take. They'll tear Portland up. And see, one thing about this reconstruction that's different from all others is that it's not just hurting black people. It's hurting everyone who's not rich. White people, everyone. And white people are not going to take it. They're saying they want Civil War too. They're not going to get that from this military. They're not going to get it. But see, they're trying to cause a lot of unrest so that people can start fighting. They really want to. See, the reason they went up in that building in Chicago and went after those black people, they wanted the photo op. That's what they really wanted. They wanted to see them against black people. But it didn't go the way they planned. It backfired on them. Do you know that they gassed some Chicago policemen on purpose? They're turning local police departments against them now. And they actually think they're going to win on this. The whole world is against them now. The United States is an empire in decline. So is Europe. France is in all type of trouble because Africa ran them out of there. Africa is running all those colonial powers out. They need to run them white folks out of South Africa. Do you know that they're talking about they're being mistreated? Look, South Africa is a nation of 63 million people. White people are 8% of the population. They still control 96% of the wealth and 75% of the farmland. They call that being mistreated. No, I show them what mistreated. When you when you have colonialists, once you run them out, you have to run them out physically also. See, in most places, in black areas, even here near East St. Louis, the black people run it politically, but others run it economically. They should have ran those white people out of South Africa. They still can. You talking about white people being mistreated? Show them what mistreatment is. Take all their wealth and redistribute it. Take all their farmland, send them to the airport, train station, any kind of way they're gonna get out of there, and send them there butt naked with nothing. They are they are Dutch. They came from Holland. Send them back there with nothing. I strip them butt naked. You get on that plane with nothing. You can even wear shoes on your feet. We gotta get a little more ruthless. We're too kind and nice. And they get that mess from that fool Nelson Mandela. Yeah, I said fool Nelson Mandela. You know why I say that? This man, they told him he has to denounce violence as a way to end apartheid. He said no, he won't do it. He'd rather go to prison. He spends 27 years in prison. Then he decides he's going to denounce violence as a way to end apartheid. Couldn't you have done that 27 years earlier and still do what you was going to do? Should let them catch you or do it in hiding. You're going to spend 27 years in prison not to do something that they asked you to do and then end up doing it anyway. And then you know what he had the nerve to say? Do to his wife, Winnie Mandela? He divorced her, talking about she cheated on him while he was in prison. Man, you was in prison 27 years. You thought that woman wasn't going to let somebody scratch that itch? I'm surprised she didn't divorce you. I'm not going to wait on no woman no 27 years. No, I don't think no woman should wait on a man 27 years. Especially when you do something that stupid you didn't have to go in the first place. You're going to wait 27 years to do what you should have done in the first place. And just still do what you wanted to do. Winnie got tired of his soft ass anyway. She was more of a revolutionary. Winnie was. But see, we have to stop all this nice soft stuff, expecting the very people who are hurting us to help us to get us out of it. You know, we got more white allies than anyone. But see, if poor white people had any sense, they would align themselves with black people. Because black people cause would hurt them. Now that all of this is coming out with MAGA and many white people and people of color telling the truth, we're finding out there's twice as many people, white people on welfare and food stamps, as they said. White people committing 75% of the crime. But they claim it was black people. And see, one thing about crime, I told you before, crime is not gauged by charges, who's charged. Crime, FBI get crime statistics by arrest. Who's the most arrested? Do you know what happens when our black people are arrested? White people, they investigate and there won't be arrest. Black people are arrested, investigated, and won't be let go. But even if they arrest you and let you go, that still go down in the crime stats. And now we're finding out that even many of the people of color is put down in the black crime statistics. Do you actually expect these people to be fair about anything? They even lied about that. They lie about everything. They see they say black people commit a lot of crime. Most of those crimes that's a misdemeanor. Even when it comes to serious crimes, black people mostly do things out of economics. If you find black people in working class communities, there's very little crime, that's serious crimes in those working class communities. The FBI stats state that 90% of serious crime among black people, excuse me, is committed by less than 2% of the same repeat offenders between the ages of 14 and 22. Because when black people start making money, we rarely commit serious crimes. I don't know what's causing me to cough like this. Oh, I didn't turn on that air purifier. But look, let me take a break right quick, and I'll be right back. I'll be back in about 60 seconds. Okay, I'm back. I had to go clear my nose. I didn't want you all to see me doing that. Uh, but look, yeah, what I was saying is that, you know, when black people start making money, the less crimes we commit. You have, because in most, just like St. Louis is supposed to be the number one crime city. If you notice, in St. Louis, crime is not all around town, and that's the way it is in most black cities. Crime is not all around town; it's in pockets. There are a lot of safe areas in St. Louis. Also in around these cities, the black suburban areas that are virtually crime free because those people have jobs, they're working, and they're virtually crime free. My YouTube hanging up. What's going on here? The as I was saying, they're virtually crime free. Oh, my buffering now. Hold on a second. Let's see what's going on here. I'm not coming back on the air. Okay, I can see myself coming back on. Oh, let me see what's going on here. Like I'm buffering here. Oh, I'm back. Okay. It looked like I was buffering now and wasn't coming back on. Um, now I can see myself on YouTube over there on the big screen. Is why am I buffering here? Give me a second. Let me see what's going on here. Let's see here. I mean, we have too much going on here. Okay. Look, yeah, they're virtually crime free in many of those areas. Am I buffering? Well, I just go on with what I'm doing. Yeah, many of those areas, they're virtually crime free. But on the other hand, when you look at the other people, they can have good jobs, doing fine, yet still commit these crimes. Because, like I told you before, look at January 6th and most white people you see in gangs. They're old people. You have old, gray, white men with gray beards committing crimes, serious crimes. You don't see old black men doing those things or old black men in a gang. You got these old white grandpas in gangs. Black people are their equivalent wouldn't be doing that. Those people in January 6th went to the Capitol. See how old those people were? Black people in that age group wouldn't have been doing anything like that. But you know what? We are not the degenerates people try to make us out to be. We've been the moral conscience of this nation. Everyone else got their rights through us. Yeah, a lot of the rights that white women have, they got it through the Civil Rights Bill. Because do you know what the white man is really mistreating this woman? He's mistreating her now. Even more white women lost federal jobs and other jobs than anyone. It's hurting white women more than anyone. He's always mistreated his own woman. Did you know that they couldn't pick up their own check? Their husbands had to pick it up. So he's been mistreating his own woman. And just like he's doing her now. They're mistreating their own women. What do you think they'll do to you? I mean, they're beating white women out in the streets, dragging them, white men. So what do you think they'll do to us? You see, so the reason I say, we're gonna have to be very careful because they're trying to get us out to confront them. That's what they've been up. What they're trying to do. Get us out to confront them so they can for a photo op. Since we wouldn't get coming to all the rallies, they thought they limited all our stuff. We would come out there and protest and fight with the police and all that. But it's been everyone except us. And so since we wouldn't come to them, they're coming to us. They coming into black areas. I sure would have had to love to see them win. I sure would have liked to see them go to Portland, to that white town, and see what happens. But a judge blocked it, but that don't stop Trump. You don't care what the judge say. This is the United States of Trump now. United States of MAGA. There's no more Constitution. Don't count on it. He does whatever he wants to, and no one's going to stop him. You know what? It's not really him who's doing it. Trump don't have the marbles. He don't have the brain power to do this stuff. Excuse me. Stephen Miller and MAGA Mike Johnson, they're the ones doing this stuff. and other billionaires. Trump don't have the power, the brain power to think up all of this. J.D. Vance. A few years ago, J.D. Vance is saying how he never vote for Trump. He's a never Trumper. Say Trump is America's Hitler. That's what he said. See how they change? See how they change? And but see, the thing about it is that see, back to the subject with them running them out of the black churches and all. See, this was a black church where one of the preachers preached a sermon about Charlie Kirk. Now, why would they expect black people to feel about Charlie Kirk the way that they feel about him? That doesn't even make sense. They think a man who spewed out hate against us, we supposed to be crazy about him. Every time he was a great debater. But he ain't going to debate some college people who didn't know much about what to talk about. But I'll tell you one thing though, because then has the stuff he said, he turned it around and he would even lie. How can you debate a person who's lying? They gotta lie to be right. Because if there was just one black, I'm keep looking down, make sure I'm not buffering. There was just one black college girl. She was maybe about 18, 19 years old. Charlie Kirk came and debated her. She mopped the floor with him. I wish I had that video. I should have uploaded it on here so I could play it. That little black girl mopped the floor with him. See, they don't like showing that. They don't talk about that. I mean, this was a young girl, and she picked apart everything he said. I was surprised that a person so young could do the way that she did. And she was very informed. Very informed. I was proud to see the way she handled herself. And she had him, kind of, shuffling around in his chair. Some they were outside and she was standing up. He was sitting on the stool. He's shuffling around. This black girl really took him to task. Yeah. So I don't know if I'm still, but I hope I'm not buffering on Facebook. I don't know what happened tonight, but I think I'm buffering on YouTube. But could be just me here, but what I'm saying that don't mean that it's buffering for other people. But look, but see, we can't feel about our enemy. Our enemy expect we to feel about their ally the way that they feel about them. You don't tell us how to feel. We feel how we want to. We think how we want to. I mean, who do they think they are to come and tell us who we should like and who we shouldn't like? Most of our people, they never liked. Anyone who's for our progress, which one of them have they shown that they like? They hated Martin Luther King when he came with nonviolence. So no matter how we come, they say march peacefully. The civil rights marcher was treated worse than anyone. Dog bites, water hoses, and what did they do? They would be marching to the courthouse to kneel down and pray. You can't get any more peaceful than that. Or going to the courthouse to register to vote. Can't get any peaceful than that. Yet they were treated worse than the ones now. Nothing we do, we haven't caused any of this for ourselves. I had to tell some black conservatives that. People talk about, yeah, these guys walking with their pants sagging. That's why they doing this, why that's why they doing that, that's why they do this to us. Look, there was a time, look, people gonna have their culture. The people who got that culture sagging, go about your business, leave them alone. Just you don't you do it. Whatever you don't like that a person doing, just don't you do it. Everybody don't have to be the same. Because back when black people was walking around in suits, the women in nice dresses with their hats, just like they dress in church now. They were treated worse then than the saggers are now. So it has nothing to do with what we're doing. People use that as an excuse to mistreat us. That's what they do. They use that as an excuse to mistreat us. Nothing we do has to do with what we're doing. It has to do with how they are, not how we are. Quit letting them make you doubt yourself. Quit letting them make you think that you're less than. They're the ones less than what they try to purport themselves to be. But I'm glad that we stopped letting them in our spaces and allow them to do whatever they want to do in our spaces. We had no business doing that. They always came around us and have their way. But we were very guarded in what we could do in their spaces. I'm glad we've learned. They But the church, they kept them out. They thought they could just walk right in. And even the policeman there, like he gonna help them. They told the policeman, "No, you're not coming in." They wouldn't even let him in. And he said, "No, you don't want to threaten me." And he said, "You take it as a threat if you want to, but you're not coming in here." They kept the policeman out. And they had to go on about their business because that policeman, if they don't want the policeman in the church, they don't have to let him in. He don't have no warrant or anything. They don't have to let him in. And they didn't let him in. He thought he can scare someone with that police stuff. He didn't scare them people. But see, that's what we have to do. We have to be bold, but let's try not to do all that confronting, because that's what they want us to do. They want those photo ops. They're trying to use. That's why they did that to those black people. They went up in that building. That was for photo ops to show black people engaging with troops or police or ICE. They know ICE don't have no business going up in any black areas. They know black people not immigrants. And ICE had no business there. They know that. I didn't put up my Cash App tonight, but you can like and share these if you want to. But I'm not gonna hold you long tonight. I just want you to know that we as a people have to be very vigilant. And I'm talking about black people. I'm not talking about anybody else. They gotta worry about themselves, just like we do. When things happen to us, when they went up in that building after those black people, you seen the people of color out there protesting. Now you'll see some white people come stand with us. Some white people will. Those people of color, well, I guess they got their own problems now. But before they even had their own problems, they didn't come and stick with us. Cause see, if those people had voted along with us, this would be a completely different nation. They making all those songs, I will vote for Donald Trump, and they did. And they FAFO. See, I don't have time for folks like that. White people and people of color who are so racist against black people that they'll vote against their own interests. That's what they did. They voted against their own interests. Because if white people actually notice, especially poor white people, they come out better siding with black people and helping black people in the struggle. It would benefit them also. But see, as Lyndon Johnson said, give a white person a person to if you take the strongest, you take let me rephrase that. If you take the lowest white man and make him think he's better than the best black man, you can pick his pockets and he never know it. But if you get them people to look down on, I said man, but I mean people. If you give them people to look down on, such as black people, he empties his pockets for you. And that's what they're doing with the white man now. See, they give white people a little bit of white privilege to make them feel that they at least you better than black people. Because they know if white people feel disenfranchised, they'll tear this country up. So they have to give them something, that little rope to hold on to. I remember this seeing years ago about this white man. His family was malnourished and children was skinny and bony. And they told him, said they had to take him out, the CPS. They asked him, why come you didn't go get food stamps? Well, I didn't want to seem like I was an N-word. He rather let his family starve. He thought food stamps were just for black people, when the majority of food stamps go to white people. And many of them are middle class. You won't find middle class black people getting food stamps, not in numbers. They should if they could. Anything we can get is fine. Give us our reparations. You wouldn't have to worry about us getting any welfare or food stamps. And by the way, welfare, when it was first started, black people couldn't get it. You know why? Black people had mostly domestic jobs back then, and they got paid in cash. They said to get welfare, you have to have contributed to the tax rolls. They did that to keep black people out. So welfare didn't start back in the 60s when black people started getting it. Now, it had been in for white people. Now, it had already been in for them. Look, I'm not going to hold you long tonight. I just want to let you know that if anything coming to your neighborhood, be careful. Because they're out to get us. It's really us they want. But we're not cooperating in the way they want us to. They want us to get out there and misbehave and fight with them for the photo ops. But then I haven't gotten it so far, and I hope they don't. So be sure to tune in with me next time on No More Water. Bye. Next time, I'm not going to hold you long tonight because I did hold you pretty long, but not as long as I normally do because I'm getting a little sleepy right now. And I don't want to, when I do that, I'm going to start repeating myself. So, thank you for tuning in to No More Water. Bye. Next time.